All right, it is 7:02, and I would like to call the meeting to order and thank everyone for attending. I am Deb Travis, the chair of Bronx Community Board 8, Parks and Recreation Committee. I have a few housekeeping items for the discussion. As a community board committee, we loosely follow Robert's Rules of Order. We will be following the agenda that was previously distributed. If we open a topic to general discussion, we ask that if you would like to speak, that you raise your hand and I will call on you. Our goal is to have a good, robust discussion. However, if a lot of people want to speak on a specific topic, which I don't think is going to be an issue tonight, however, you may only get to speak once, so just make sure to make it count. If you're not speaking, we ask that you keep yourself muted to prevent background noise from interrupting other people. If you're on Zoom, to raise your hand, you will select reactions at the bottom of the screen. If you're on the phone, it is *6 to mute and unmute, and *9 to raise your hand and to lower your hand. So I will now do roll call. Bob Bender? Here. Carol Blake? Here. Joanna Edmondson? Ron Dott is not here this evening. And I am Deb Travis. I am here. All right. Other board members. I saw Julie Reyes coming in. Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody. Have a good evening.
Hey, Julie. All right. And so then as far as parks officials, we've got Catherine.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. I see Joe Magnieri. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Deb.
I see, hey. I see Valerie Davis O'Neill.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Alberto Milan.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
And then I thought I saw, there's Stephanie Ehrlich.
Hiya.
Hey there. And then Christina Taylor with Van Cortlandt Park Alliance.
Hello.
And I see Laura Spolter. Yep. All right, so I've got Laura also. Are there any other representatives from the Parks Department or members of the Community Board that I haven't already named? No? Making sure you're not with the Parks Department? No. Okay. All right, so next I would like to approve the minutes of the September 25th, 2024 committee meeting, which were distributed to committee members ahead of the meeting. Does anyone on the committee have any changes? I noticed one thing, which was that I had not put Valerie Davis's, had not put Valerie Davis O'Neill, so I corrected that, and I had not put her title, which is a special assistant to the Bronx Borough Commissioner. Valerie, correct me if that's wrong, but.
That's correct.
That's right. Okay, great, thank you. So I made that one correction. So if there are no objections, I would like to move to approve the amended minutes by unanimous consent. The minutes of September 25th, 2024 committee meeting are unanimously approved. All right, the chair's report. So I'd like to start off with thanking Carol Blake, who has agreed to be the vice chair of the Parks Committee. So thank you so much for stepping forward. Wonderful. Next bit of news, the Historic House Trust Executive Director, Meredith Horsford, has left Historic House Trust for a new opportunity. Giulietta Fiore will be the interim director during the executive director search. Meredith was always very professional. She attended many of our Parks Committee meetings, and I think she made a real difference in bringing a higher level of professionalism to Historic House Trust. She will be missed, and we wish her all the best in her next role. Next up, Van Cortlandt Stadium Master Plan Study. The Van Cortlandt Stadium Master Plan Study has kind of kicked off. The plan for community engagement has been provided to us. They intend to host a community engagement event in late 2024, and then another one in early 2025 with a report to follow Their intention is to look at the stadium, the ball fields, the playground, and the space directly adjacent to the stadium to create a holistic master plan for future capital expenses. There'll be more info to come once we know when these events will take place. Any questions about any of those things?
Deb, I believe there was a meeting scheduled for last evening,
There was.
which we couldn't attend, of course, because we had an emergency board meeting last evening.
Mhm.
So we don't have to do it now, but since we have Stephanie and Christina here, I hope at some point during the evening, they will say a few words about what happened last night.
So I was at that meeting.
Oh.
'Cause I attended that meeting as the Community Board 8 rep.
Okay.
And it was essentially, the way I interpreted it was as an orientation meeting, was to kind of say what the master plan study was going to be, that, to introduce the people who'd be leading it, and then to get, initial kind of feedback from other kind of like other community boards, elected representatives, stuff like that. So I took that as to be the orientation. Stephanie or Christina, do you know, I don't think that was the late 2024 community engagement meeting, or was it?
Yes, it was. Yes, that
Oh, it
is
was,
what it
okay.
was last night. Yes.
Okay.
And there'll be a pop-up survey that happens on Sunday this weekend. There'll be someone from the consulting group FHI that'll be on site in the afternoon on Sunday, and then again he'll be on site on November 7th collecting information from folks.
So can you give those dates again, Stephanie?
Yes, Sunday, November 3rd and November 7th.
November 7th. And they're going to be at the stadium, at the track?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it was mostly just asking questions in breakout rooms, and the kind of standard community engagement stuff. So, but no report on the state of the stadium, conditions, that kind of thing, other than what we already know, which is that it's already worn and definitely needs the capital impulse, injection.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, totally. Anything else? All right, so then that brings us to our first agenda item, which is a presentation on Vital Parks for All, investing in New York City's infrastructure with Alberto Milan. Alberto, do you have a presentation to share?
Yes, I'm gonna share my screen. Just give me one sec. Okay, and I please have access to share? Thank you.
It's just done. Yeah.
Just give me 1 second. I have a little difficulty. Does everyone see my screen? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's a little small. Are you on a phone? No.
No, let me try another screen. Hold on.
Alberto, you still there?
Just still having some technical difficulties. I'm gonna have Catherine share her screen.
Okay. Catherine, are you able to share screen?
I'm trying to right now. Okay, it's letting me.
Okay.
Can you see my screen? Is it big?
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for your patience. So tonight I'm going to be presenting on Vital Parks for All, investing in NYC's living infrastructure. Next page, please. So Vital Parks for All, investing in NYC's living infrastructure. This is a plan to equitably strengthen the health environment and communities throughout New York City and especially the Bronx. So New York City has over 3,000 acres of parkland. 7,292 of those acres are actually here in the Bronx, with over 116,000 street trees planted throughout our streets and parks. Next page. So why start this now? There's a few reasons why we want to start this now. We have increased reliance in our parks. Since COVID, we've seen a drastic increase in users. The climate change and extreme heat indexes that we've been experiencing, declining life expectancies. It's a lot more equitable or healthy, and it's proven to have a longer life expectancy if you have a nice green space to enjoy. And then of course our aging infrastructure, like you can see in the photo, our Orchard Beach bathhouse that was in need of dire updating. So for our plan, we have a $3.2 billion initial investment to restore all of our facilities. Well, not all, some of our facilities. And we really hope to use a lot of these funds to
What's your
help
plan?
in underserved areas and neighborhoods. So our Vital Park system includes clean and safe elements, green and resilient elements, and also engaged and empowered elements. So this is a snapshot of the Vital Parks tools, which goes hand in hand with the Vital Parks initiative. I'm going to be doing a live demonstration of this in a moment, so I'll get into more details about this in a second. I did take a screenshot of the stats for Community Board 8, so we can see how we're doing with active recreation areas, where we have 91% of 91% of the people in the Community Board 8 are within a 10-minute walk to one of our recreational areas, be it a park or green space or a rec center, where the citywide average is 79%. We are falling behind in Community Board 8, as we can see in Community Gardens, where you're at 19%. Cooling features, which can be drinking fountains, spray showers, etc., you're doing really well at 92%, where the citywide average is 85%. And these are just a few of the things that you can see the percentages of your community board versus the citywide average. Next slide, please. So on the tool, I'll show you this on the live exercise, but you can zoom in on your block so that you can see the distance to a certain type of amenity, be it a park area, dog run, or there's a list of options that we'll go through in a second. Next slide, please. Now, in addition to all this information, you can get your Vital Park signs. So you can search your park. This is one of our lowest scored parks in the Bronx, Prentice Park. So you would type in the name, it'll pull up the park, and on the top right hand side, it'll show you under clean and safe a score of 42. This is out of 100. So again, we're going to do a live demonstration, and we'll pick another park so that we can see, but it'll give you the actual rating for your park. Next slide, please. So some of the strategic initiatives that we have are a $400 million investment in park facilities. 169.5 million of that investment is in the Bronx parks. We're also investing in better bathrooms. In the Bronx, we're going to have 5 completely new bathrooms and 5 reconstructed bathrooms. Or some of these are already in process, actually. We also started the Let's Swim initiative, which is close to $1 billion in investment, and 36.1 million is being used for the Bronx to reconstruct the pools in Claremont, Van Cortlandt, Hafen, and the recently completed Edenwald pool. Next slide, please. So in addition to that, we're green and resilient. We're growing wetlands, gaining resilience in those areas, growing green spaces, expanding our tree canopy, which is very important in the Bronx because we have a lot of heat vulnerable areas in the Bronx, and we plan to plant around 1,100 trees this fall and 1,900 by the spring of 2025. And we are also growing our greenways. And one of the big projects is going to be the Tibbetts Brook Bridge Park and the Bronx Harlem River and Pelham Parkway. Next slide, please. So as part of Vital Parks, we like to stay engaged and empowered with the community. That's why we have a few initiatives that we've started that you might be familiar with. Let's Green NYC. We've had over 128,000 volunteers engaged in the Bronx since only last year. We have Let's Play NYC, with $48 million investment to restore existing recreation centers as safe havens, with 2 new recreation centers being constructed in the Bronx and 3 receiving upgrades. And then we have our City Parks Network partnership through CPF, which is helping our partner groups. Next slide, please. Your partnerships and support are essential to a Vital Park system. The $3.2 billion is just an initial investment. We can see in the slide Mill Pond extension, and some of those $3.2 billion were used to extend Mill Pond Park and also renovate the space. And this is just one of the many, many projects that we have going on in the Bronx, or one of the completed projects, actually. Next slide, please. So with the Vital Parks Explorer, it's designed to empower our users of the parks and demonstrate like I said, the park scores, the type of enforcement coverage that you have. And for the enforcement coverage aspect of it, it will show you the percentage of parks that have at least 15 minutes of patrol time. It'll show you your new or renovated parks and your parks that have public events. Next slide, please. And as the slide says, you're all vital to Vital Parks. So, Kat, if you can stop sharing, I'm gonna go into the tool now. Let me just share my screen once again. Oh, can I please have access to share?
You should be all set now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is the landing page for our Vital Parks, and if you go into,
it's very distorted. Would you be able to just refresh it?
Hold on.
I don't think it was a spreadsheet. It looked like it was just distortion. I think.
It was intended to be a spreadsheet, but hard to tell.
No, it's not a spreadsheet. It's the web page, but it looks distorted. You're right, Deborah.
Yeah, I'll do it from your computer.
If you could please give me access so that he could just share it from my screen. You all see my screen?
Yep.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for your patience. So if you go to the web link nyc.gov/vital parks, it'll take you to our homepage. In the homepage, you can do a few things. You can jump into the Explorer right here, or in the first section. You can check your park vital signs. So I'll do the park vital signs first. So when you go to learn more, it'll take you here, and then you'll just type in the park that you want to see. So we'll go to Ewan, and it'll show you the
You
park.
take that just because Julie Jenkins is on the phone, right?
Once you get there, it'll show you your vital. It'll show you a vital park score right here, and we can see that Ewan Park is at a 95, and it'll show
So,
you.
just to stop real quick, what does a 95 mean?
It's a 90, the park condition score, the overall park condition score. So the previous park, I believe it. You got it.
So I assume it's out of a range of 100.
Yes.
What's
Correct.
considered passing or acceptable?
I believe it's over a 90. I will double check what's passable, but I believe it's a 90.
Is it an operations thing that it would be the same number for the Parks Department themselves?
So this is
Joe
the same.
Magneri's on the.
Yeah, this is the same score that this comes from their parks inspections and all the information that maintenance and operation is entering into our databases.
Joe Magneri, can you speak real quick? What's the passing score?
Our previous passing scores, Deb, I'm not going to tell you what the last few are because I real off the top of my head, but Ewan always does well. It's just
Well, I guess if it's got a 96, is that like it's an A plus, or is it like?
It almost always passes, and if we do fail, it's because of like a hanging limb or something. But when it comes to like litter or it's a very it passes all the time basically.
Can you, Alberto, could you put in Fort 4 just for comparison, or Bailey Playground, something? You might need to. Fort 4 is, I think, actually it's considered Washington's Walk. Washington's Walk, the Fort 4 section, I guess, of Washington's Walk. There you go. So it's 68.
Mm-hmm.
So is that passing?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Just
checking.
Yeah. So they're being very transparent. Parks that are in poor condition, we're again showing
Alberto,
exactly what's going into our.
Alberto, is the score affected by amenities? Like what amenities are provided to the public too?
No, this is just
Is this
condition.
that's just strictly conditions? Okay.
Yes, strictly condition.
It's just under clean and safe, Joe. On the screen, it's just under clean and safe.
Yeah.
You're correct, Deb.
So that is that portion of the Explorer. So you can search any park within the 5 boroughs. All of them are listed here. It'll give you a score for each one. And again,
Okay.
some of our parks are going to be scored low, but the Parks Department is being very transparent. This is a tool for the communities to use to advocate, you know, be it garbage pickup or something else. It's a tool for everyone to actually advocate for more services in their park if needed. Now, when we go to the Explorer, we'll click on the Explorer and it'll show you a map of the whole city. And this is broken down by community boards. So if we scroll over to the Bronx, we can zoom in. If you click on the community district, it'll show you their details for that community board. And it'll give you on the left-hand side the actual score for that community district, and then the citywide average. So to get out of this, you just hit close, and it'll take you back to the map. So right now, on the left-hand side, we have active recreation areas. I can change this to say dog runs, and we can see Community Board 8 only has 40% access, well, 40% access of the constituents in this area live within a 10-minute walk to a dog run. If we zoom out, we can see the other districts in the Bronx, like District 12 only is 3%, District 5 is at 5%, District 1 at 32%. We can go to public events. So we're doing pretty good in District 8 at 90% of people who are within a 10-minute walk to a park with a public event. Public restrooms, we're at 71%. If we zoom in, the black dotted areas are where you actually have those restrooms in the map. So you can literally zoom into your block and see you're 3 blocks away from a dog run, play equipment, and then the restroom is right here.
And how are you zooming? Are you using the plus minus, or are you zooming with your mouse, or?
So you have a plus minus on the bottom left of the map, but you can also use the roller ball on the mouse. So I'm using the roller ball. It's just a little easier.
Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't seeing what you were using, so it seems a little magical.
So this is a great tool to compare how you're doing to the rest of the city. Let's see something. Parks Enforcement Patrol, something that we all are aware of that we're lacking. So in your district, you're at 36% of your parks being patrolled at least 15 minutes a day by Parks Enforcement. If we look at the rest of the city, the South Bronx does have a little more coverage. These seem to be our trouble areas, so Parks Enforcement is called in a lot more often. The same goes for like Northern Manhattan, but citywide we're pretty on par, where if you look at Queens, they're at like 20%, 28% for a lot of their parks. Staten Island is at 40, 43, 53, and 34%. So this is something that's an issue almost citywide.
So one question with the PEP coverage. So the number of parks is not evenly distributed in the Bronx, right? So like when you talk about 15 minutes per park, is it also that, I mean, that we have a lot of parkland? And so, like, I'm just trying to figure out, when we're looking at this map, if it's like, if 62% or 92% of your parks are getting 15 minutes, but you've only got 5 parks, it seems like that might distort this. Is that fair to say?
So it's a minimum of 15 minutes. It doesn't mean that they only patrol for 15 minutes. So like Van Cortlandt does get quite a few patrols, but
Right.
that's only
But is
Van
Van
Cortlandt.
Cortlandt part of this? They're cut out of this. It looked like,
So
so if
they're
you,
within a 10-minute walk of most of the district.
I see.
Yeah, so as you can see, like most of this would be of this section of Community Board 8 would be within a 10-minute walk.
I see. So it's people who reside within the red delineated area.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
red
so
line.
36% of the people who live in that area are within a 10-minute walk of a park that's patrolled at least 15 minutes a day.
So that seems like it's basically the people who live on the border of Van Cortlandt Park.
It's hard to say because I don't have the raw data in front of me. You can download the raw data where it says download all community data. And then you can further look at all the data that was uploaded. So this information is taken from our Parks Enforcement Patrol. They log all of their hours, at each park, and then they put that into a monthly report, and they pull that information from that monthly report.
Okay. And then these green lines I'm seeing, what do those indicate? I mean, where the roads are? Yeah, some roads are highlighted in green and other roads are not. What's that about?
That I have to get back to you. I'm not sure why some of these are highlighted in green, to be honest with you. But I'll definitely email the team and get back to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
All right. In addition to just this, you can break it down by areas that have gun violence prevention police precincts. So we don't have any in your community board, but we can see the South Bronx has 3, and part of the North Bronx also has the 47th precinct. You can also look at New York State disadvantaged communities. These are communities that the state has deemed as disadvantaged, and see what amenities they have compared to others. Okay.
Can you, just scroll up to where we are? So we have some in our district, I see, along the reservoir.
Yes. Correct.
And in Kingsbridge. Gotcha.
So I know that I received a few questions prior to this presentation. One of the questions is how can you share feedback on the tool? And it's very simple. So if you see on the bottom left in blue, it says share your feedback. Once you click the link, it'll take you to nyc.gov, where you can message the commissioner. It'll go to the commissioner's office. If it's something that the commissioner's office can answer, they will answer. If not, it'll be sent to the appropriate affiliate, be it Parks Enforcement or the Bronx Borough Office, Maintenance and Operation, etc. So that's how you can share feedback on this. Another question that I received was, how accurate is the information? So this information is 100% accurate, up to date. This is being pulled from our parks inspections, from the monthly reports from Parks Enforcement. Capital is uploading things as a project finishes. They'll upload the information so that you can see the updates on here. So once something goes into procurement, it'll reflect in the vital parks also. Another question I received is, how much did it cost for us to set up this tool? This was all in-house. We didn't have any consultants or anything. This was our in-house team that created the program, so it was just our New York City Parks funding. And I don't know, was there any other questions? I don't recall off the top of my head. I'm not on my computer.
Well, you kicked off the presentation was saying that there would be 3.2 billion in initial investment, and really about this as the tool is great, but just about there being an increased investment in park infrastructure. I was wondering where the money's coming from and how you pick projects.
So the money is already in play in a lot of places. So we're looking at what structures are in need of repair, like say Van Cortlandt Pool. So they have set aside a certain amount of money for the pools, and we know that Van Cortlandt, Hafen, and quite a few others are in disrepair that needed to be updated. So we're taking advantage of these funds. Now, this funding is coming from a few different locations, but for the most part, we did receive the funding through the mayor's office, and it was approved through OMB. But there are some, other partners also that we're getting money from. Another project that we're working on that's included in this is the pavilion at Orchard Beach, and again another site where it's something that was in need of desperate repair. It was going to be a safety hazard to the public if we didn't upgrade it at that point. And
Well,
also
so I guess
we're
maybe let
taking
me
we're also
yeah, let me
receiving community input. So this is what the tool is about also, where people can see what amenities they have in their districts and what they're lacking, so that they can actually request for additional, parkland, additional playgrounds, or more updated playgrounds if you feel that you don't have dog runs in your area and that's something that the community strongly wants. This is something that you can use to advocate for that.
let me just repackage what I was asking, I guess. Is this 3.2 billion new money coming to the Parks Department, or is it just you've added up kind of all the outstanding capital money that's already been allocated for future capital projects that are kind of in the pipeline but haven't been started yet?
So it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. It's some projects that we had already received funding and they had allocated it as Vital Parks funding and started, and then they have some additional funding that they are working with to renovate new sites.
Yeah, Bob?
Yeah, that was exactly the road I wanted to go down, Deb, so thank you for asking those questions. So a lot of this is existing money, and you mentioned other partners. Would that be, for example, council members who have used their own funding for some parks projects, number one? Number two, would it be money from the State Environmental Bond Act as well? I'm just curious about the other partners whose funding you're drawing on. And last question, over what period of time are we talking about with this $3.2 billion?
Yeah, so I can definitely reach out and get additional information so that I give you the correct answer to that question. And I can get back to you hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, okay?
Thank you. That would be very good. Just reply to the board office.
Not a problem. If no additional questions, yeah, that'll conclude the presentation.
All right, well, thank you so much for the...
Do they allow any food trucks on those parks on the summers? Do they have any?
Oh, I can talk to you about food trucks.
Oh.
Yeah. The answer is yes, but it's a process.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's a good question. Does that map show where there are food trucks?
No,
Like where there are food truck licenses that are approved for the parks?
That is not something that's currently on there, but if you would like to see that, that's something that I would definitely use to share your feedback, so that it could be sent to the main office as a request.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the call and telling us all about this initiative. This is great.
Thank you for your time. Have a great evening.
Thank you. So next up is an update on all the various capital projects, going from a map of the capital projects to the capital projects themselves. Catherine Barone is the Director of Capital Projects for the Bronx, and we reached out to her to just provide an update on some of the capital projects that have already been funded that are kind of in flight. And I gave her a list. But Catherine, do you want me to go through it, or do you have an order you'd like to go in, or how do you want to do this?
I could go through them, Deb. I just have one question. So the shorefront
Yeah.
pond hall restoration one, I do not have an update
Yeah.
on that. We're trying to figure out what project that is because I don't have a record of that.
I don't think Jody's on the call, but I can find it for you. Yeah, Shorefront Park, I can give you the number. You want to start with Strong Street
I'll start-
Playground? I
of
know that's
course.
under construction.
Yes, so this project is it's currently in construction and on schedule. The current expected construction completion date is spring 2025. As we get closer and past the winter, I could have a more, a more definite timeline for that.
Okay. How about the Fort 4 restroom?
The Fort 4 restroom.
It's also known as Washington Walk / Fort 4.
Yes. Yeah.
Once called a comfort station, now called the restroom.
Now called public restroom, yes. We are anticipating for the completion date to be early in 2025. We had to do a change of work order because there was an issue with the heating unit, which is being rectified now. So that's why it was a little delayed.
Okay. I noticed as part of that work that that the trees, there were small trees in the park that now are gone, and there are boulders on top of where the trees used to be. I don't know if you or Joe has any context of if that's part of the capital work, if the trees are going to be restored once the restroom is complete. Like, what's the plan there?
Kat, I don't have the plans in front of me, but I know there was some transplanted trees and
Along like the basketball court?
It's kind of in the interior. It's like there's like the basketball court, and then there's like an interior spot where it's almost like there's
Like
the
a walkway,
entrance
right?
of the walkway. There's 6 trees, and they're just boulders now.
Okay, I'll look into that, Deb. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it's a hot park without trees.
Of course, yeah, no, I know that, yeah. I'll look into it.
Okay. Spite and Dibble Shorefront Park Pond Wall Construction. I can give you the project ID if you would like it.
Of course, that would
Is
be
that
great.
helpful? It's P108, S is in Sam, D is in Deb, P is in Park, W is in Wall.
So P108SDPW?
SDPW, yep.
Yeah, okay. I'll look into this one.
Spite and Dibble Shorefront Park Pond Wall Construction. Oh yeah, Spite and Dibble Park Wall. Or Pond Wall. How about Classic Playground Exercise Area?
So that was just completed now in June. It's open
Is it
to the
done?
public. Yes.
It seems like, I could go back there, but it seems like the fence is still up. Is that true?
When was the last time
I
you
know
were
I've
there?
been past it since the summer, and
Yeah, no.
there's
It
still
was
fence
open.
up in that park.
No,
Is there?
Joe, can
No,
you
right?
comment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
no,
That's what
Deb,
you're gonna add?
no, there's no, the fence is not up.
Fence?
The construction fence
Can I-
is down, it's all done. It's all
Yeah, it is.
It's all done? Okay.
Yep, it was
Okay, I'll go
completed
visit.
in June.
I guess you've taken away my reason for going to the adult exercise area.
It's
What
pretty cool
about
too.
what about you and Park Stairs?
So we are in the process of rebidding this project in order to obtain a responsible contractor. So right now we're in the process of going through the legal reviews. The lowest bidder that we received was very unbalanced and did not understand the extent of the work that needs to be done there. So that's why we're rebidding now to get another contractor.
So what does that mean in terms of time, I guess? That's really the most important part for us. Is it like you're starting that process over, or?
No, we're not starting the process over, but it's still going to be on schedule. It's just that that's the current phase now.
So when is the estimated time for procurement to be over and construction to start?
Give me a second. So procurement is scheduled to be completed sometime next year, like sometime in the summer, from what I have in my notes. Yes.
The procurement ends like summer 2025?
Yeah, like summer 2025, and then construction would be a few months after that.
Right. Okay. Julie, did you have any questions you wanted to ask Catherine while we're talking about the UN Park stairs?
No, that's good information to have. I was interested because there's just rumors in the neighborhood about it. So it'll be good to say they don't have to worry about it till 2026 or so. But I think, and just to keep on your radar, folks, there's rumors that we'll lose part of the dog run and maybe part of access to the park. And so I don't know if you're going to do any kind of community engagement before that, just so folks don't panic when the construction starts.
So it's not, we don't do any community engagement before the construction starts.
Okay.
However, we do, like I do a site visit with the operations team, with the contractors, with the construction team. So whatever information I gather from that regarding access during construction, I'll make sure to relay that to the community board.
That would be great. Thanks, Catherine.
No worries. Thank you.
There has been history that you do come back to the community board for a design discussion. Now, if all you're doing is simply replacing the stairs with no alteration to the design, then I would understand why it's not necessary to come back. But is that the case?
Well, we already did this one. They came to the Parks Committee like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
It's been so long. I'm sorry.
It's been so long, yeah.
That's okay.
Okay. I think it was like 3 parks chairs ago.
Okay.
But yeah, we can find it for you if you want to take a look at it. But yeah, they've been fine.
It was 2021. It
was actually 2022, June 15, 2022 was I just looked at the flyer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Time flies.
What about, so the UN Park Adult Fitness Station is done, correct?
Yes, that was completed in 2023, summer of 2023.
Okay. Tibbetts Tail fence.
So I actually just had a site visit today with the contractor. I don't have a start date yet.
I hope you brought your bug spray.
Yeah. So we anticipate this construction project to start sometime this winter. We have other sites that our contractor is also working on, so we're finalizing the schedule. But as soon as I have a start date, I'll make sure to share that with you. But sometime this winter.
How long, like I know the fence is not the whole length of Tibbetts Tail.
No.
How do you determine, like, how long is it? And where does it start? Does it start right at Bailey Playground?
So it starts right at that little gate, right after Bailey Playground. So we're replacing the whole fence on the exterior from Bailey Playground to the building that's next to Tibbetts Tail. And then the fencing that's going in the inside is not as long. I don't have the exact measurements because we weren't able to get in there today. But we'll be scheduling a site visit within like the next 2 or 3 weeks where we're going to take those measurements, and I could share that with you.
That would be great. Like once you have a drawing, just so we can be clear.
Of course.
Deb, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What is thanks. What is the objective of replacing the fences? Is there going to be any community access once it's replaced, or is it just replacing what's already there?
So I could get back to you on that. I'm fairly new to this project. I actually just learned about it today at my site visit, but I'm not sure what's the intent. Joe, do you know?
So we can,
But I could get back to you on that if Joe doesn't know.
Yeah,
I mean, we can speak
there
a
was
little bit,
some,
which is,
there was some controversy at some point. So I don't know exactly what the plans are for moving forward, but there was some
Okay.
controversy, but.
I'll ask.
I mean, I can say just in terms of the basics of it, Julie, is that there's no fence between the where the park area is and the Major Deegan. And so, when it was more open to the public, it was dangerous because it would be very easy just to go down onto the Deegan. So it was closed, so that the public couldn't get easy access to it, ostensibly to install this fence along the Deegan but it is a good question that once this fence is installed, what is the park's intention for the green space? Can we open it back up to the public? I mean, we've been advocating that it should be part of a capital project with Bailey Playground to make it one holistic, unified park, because it's very, very overgrown, and it can become subject to dumping.
Yeah, I'll look into that, Deb.
Yeah, that's been our number one capital priority for years. Is Bailey Playground and the unification of it with Tibbetts Tail. So yeah, any updates on that would be great.
Okay.
And then Fort Independence Playground, there's been a petition going around recently about it, so it's gotten additional attention. There was an article in the Riverdale Press. I know that there's been some CPI money that was given to this. Can you talk a bit about this project?
So this project was funded. It's fully funded through the Community Parks Initiative, CPI. And we are expecting for design to start sometime within fiscal year 2025, and construction to possibly start in late 2027.
That Kat, I just want to jump. I just want to jump in real quick. There's actually some plans to do some in-house work on the safety surface.
Okay.
I'll give you, because the safety surface is bad. I'll talk to shops tomorrow and find out when they plan on starting, but it should start relatively soon. It shouldn't. We're going to do a little in-house work to make sure it looks and is safer. So.
Thank you, Joe.
So, Joe, when you say in-house work, like, what are you talking about? So for folks who aren't aware, it's the mats that are under the playground surface are bowed at the edges, and so they've become tripping hazards. Joe?
Yeah. So we'll pull them up. Over the years, a lot of stuff gets underneath them. We'll clean it out and then anchor them back down. There's talk on whether or not we're going to do it all at once or in sections so that we don't have to shut the entire playground down. But I'll give you the details once it's all in motion, completely in motion. I'll let you know what's going on.
What's the timeline?
I don't know the exact timeline. I think they're pricing it out right now. As far as what materials they need and stuff like that, because it's going to be our money. It's going to be in-house. So we have to, figure all that out. I'll keep you in the loop.
But are you thinking, though, it's this year, or are you thinking it's like sometime after the winter?
No, probably before the summer. It'll probably be done before the summer.
Okay. So the Van Cortlandt Park pedestrian bridge. I know, Catherine, this is kind of a Parks plus DDC. Do you have any updates, though, on all of the various capital projects that we're gonna kind of come out of that?
So that is still being worked on. I do know that the replacement of the pedestrian bridge, we're currently, we're going to be moving forward with that project. However, we need funding in place, and we're currently working with our grants team to reallocate the funding that we had in place for the design to begin.
Okay. So when you say the replacement, what you're talking about is the alternative over
Yes.
up at 254th or whatever in Woodlawn.
Yes.
33rd, yeah.
So because the scope is changing, the funds need to be reallocated to match the new scope. And that's what our grants team is working on. I'm also working with them, with the elected officials on that. So it's a lengthy process, but we're getting there. Once we have that, I'll be able to share a timeline on that project.
Okay. And then does it include any work around Chandler Field, or is it just strictly that overpass area?
It's just strictly that overpass area for now.
Okay. And I know that when they made the presentation, there was also improvements along the Old Croton Trail itself. Where do we stand with those? Are there any? And did any of those trail suggestions do they survive and live to this day?
I don't know that. They're still working through those projects. I could find out. Yeah.
Stephanie, do you have any kind of update on those alternative routes and such?
No, I think it all hinges on the reallocation of funds.
Got you. Okay. And then Catherine, I assume you have to go get more information on shorefront pond wall restoration stuff?
Yeah, I do, because for some reason, I knew it was Spite and Dival, but I just couldn't find anything on it. And our capital team didn't have anything on it, so.
So are there any other projects that are outstanding or anything new that's gotten allocated money?
For FY25, we're still going through that list. But once it's cleared, from the commissioner's office and shared with us, I'd be happy to share that with you. We don't have any schedules or anything yet set in stone.
Yeah, there is one other project, and that's in Seton Park, the adult fitness and the skate park.
It's nearing completion.
Right. No,
Yep.
I know it is. I saw it. It's supposed to be completed this fall, but I thought it was interesting in the Riverdale Press today. Apparently, the skateboarders have managed to find a way into the skate park and were saying how much they were enjoying it, despite the fact
Really?
that there is a fence around the entire project.
Okay.
That seems to be the best time to enjoy a skate park.
Yeah.
When nobody else can use it.
I wasn't aware of that. Yeah.
Same thing at the Van Cortlandt Park one as well, before it happened.
Yeah, Pep's aware of it, but they just keep getting in. They're
Yeah, they've
they want to
done
have
it
fun.
My son wants to know. He's dying when it'll open.
I don't
It's
have
very
a.
close to completion.
Yeah, it's extremely close to completion. I don't have a date, an official date yet. But I think it should be in the next couple of months. Hopefully, we could host something there for the
Yeah, well,
opening.
I mean, the sign says fall 2024, so that does mean the next couple of months.
Yes.
And so just, I've got one last question, and if nobody else has questions, anything. And this isn't a capital project that's already funded, but the electricity in Van Cortlandt Park, the transformer that was damaged, have there been any discussions about how to get this into the state of good repair money, capital money? Like, what's the plan there so that we have electricity in the park?
So they're currently looking at possible solutions to the problem, and they're looking at different funding sources for the resolution. Once we get more updates, we'll let everyone know.
Okay. Are all the funding sources within the city or within parks, or are you also talking to DOT?
So it's right now it's with the capital team, so they haven't discussed the funding as of aspect of it. They want to see how to first correct the situation, and then we'll talk about the funding.
So is it coming, is it considered a capital project? I asked partly out of because, as we're putting our priorities together, obviously that should be a priority if it's a capital project. If it's a state of good repair kind of project, it shouldn't just come out of operating, or that's a different matter. So what kind of project is it?
So we're not sure yet, Deb. It is a capital priority for us, but we're not sure yet where the funding is going to come, or how it's, or how we're going to take care of the issue with the electricity at Van Cortlandt.
Okay. And how do you work it with solar? I know the city has money for money in air quotes, initiatives and plans to make the city agencies more energy efficient. Something like this seems like an opportunity to do solar because you have to do something. How does that kind of stuff get decided?
That's a very good question, Deb. I'm not sure, but I'm sure that I think that the capital team will have to do a feasibility study in order to, to see whether that would work in Van Cortlandt Park or not. But that is definitely something that I will share with the team.
Okay. So if maybe can include that in our capital ask or something for a feasibility study for solar or something. We can talk about it later.
Yeah, but we just turned in our...
No, I mean for in January.
Next year, yes.
I feel as though this will still be broken in January.
I suspect you're right.
Well, thank you so much, Katrin, for coming, and Alberto for helping, and Joe for jumping in, and everybody else, Stephanie. Is there anything else you wanted to update us on while you're here?
I'm good on my end. I'm Deb. Joe, do you have anything?
No, nothing to add.
Stephanie?
All right.
I'm good.
Val?
Okay, all right. Well, thus concludes this agenda item. I want to thank you guys all for coming out to the call tonight. I mean, we look forward to updates, and we certainly will look forward to, exploring the classic playground. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no, it was good to see you. So next up is our Dining Out NYC sidewalk applications. The first one is for Salvatore's. Find it.
Yes.
Deb, do you have any? I'm sorry, Deb, it's Joe. Do you have anything else coming up? Do you need me to stick around, or?
I don't have anything else on the agenda. It's just really whether there's any. Well, actually, wait. I've got some old business for you, Joe. So hang out.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Okay.
Can we just amend the agenda and do the
old business first?
Before?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Joe. We're gonna amend the agenda. Are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
All right. So Henry Hudson Park. I know that there were reports from Friends of Spite and Dieble, people cutting down.
Yeah, the rogue pruner. The rogue
pruner.
Yeah.
Is there any update on that?
So we're looking out for them. We're trying to catch them. Pep's in the game. We got some personal details. The commissioner is looking at options to maybe send out a letter to just stop. But I'll keep you in the loop on that. Yeah, they seem to be getting a little happy with their pruners. So getting a little excited out there.
Washington's Walk. When last we met, we were discussing permits. Has there been any change with it with permitting?
Not yet. Let's make a decision on that as we get closer to the season. And like we spoke, Deb. I just feel like Washington's Walk had an amazing transformation. Maybe I'll have a call with you and we'll talk about maybe a section, maybe just one section that we could put on the permit, because it got so crazy, Deb. I'm just afraid that it's gonna get nuts
Yeah,
again.
but no, I understand. I don't think the problem wasn't the people who were getting permits. You know, the people who were not getting permits were not really. I think they would have done what they were doing regardless. I don't know where they went.
Yeah, but
And why
but
they're
then it
not
comes
as
down
active.
to, but when it comes to enforcement, right? So there'll be somebody out there with a permit doing the right thing, and then people will be driving by like, oh, look, we could do this, and then they come out, and then if you don't catch them before they set up, you know, if they set up a birthday party and then the birthday party escalates, like the police or that they're not really going to shut people down. It's like a rough situation. That was part of the problem. Getting it under control was, the precinct got really involved and was stopping people before they started. And I don't know that maybe just the section of Washington's Walk. I mean, right now, like Theory 9 and any events like that they want to do, we go through Fort Independence, and I'll put a note on it that it's for Washington's Walk. But as far as like parties and stuff, I don't know, Deb.
I mean, it's just there's a long tradition of people having birthday parties, like children's birthday parties and things in that park. And so.
It goes over to Fort 4, so it's like.
Yeah, but I think the people who would like to get the permits, I mean, it's like if people who don't.
I know, but we got to
don't
think
get
about
permits, don't care about permits,
No, I know. You just got to think about the home. I mean, you had people coming with oak tag presentations on how bad it got, and we did a lot to get it under control, and that was due to just stopping the presence of and not for nothing, Deb. It's right on the street. There's no gates. We're going out. I don't know. It's just. I think I just think it's a funny road to go down, opening it up. But maybe we could talk about a section, like just one section.
When did you stop allowing permits, Joe?
Oh, that was when we were meeting in person. Bob, that was on the agenda. I remember a couple came with the big presentation, and that was years ago when we used to do the meetings at the nursing home over there off of Marshall Parkway. How many years ago was that? Or not by Marshall Parkway, both by Marshall Parkway and by Van Cortlandt by the stables. How many years ago was that, Bob?
Quite a
Do you
few.
remember? Yeah, it was a few.
No, it was a while ago. That much I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Luke and Larry were doing presentations about it in like 2017, 2018, 2019, and it's better. That's why I wanted to know if it actually is better, because whether there's actually any correlation between it getting better and the permits not being issued, or whether it's just gotten better because a couple of the people who were the worst offenders have moved.
No, I think it's that the people do the right thing, and it's very easy to double park in that area. It's like a main street. You're driving down, and people will see somebody having a little birthday party, and they're like, "Oh wow, you could have a little thing around here," and then it just explodes. It's 100% because it's not being permitted.
Yeah. So I think we're going to agree to disagree, but I think we need to open up at least a portion of Washington's Walk so that folks can actually enjoy it. It doesn't seem right to me that we don't let people use the park. Like, we just saw whole vital parks for whatever in New York, and yet you can't get a permit if you want to go use the park in the neighborhood.
Well, it's a walk.
It doesn't really line up with me how parks should work. That's all.
Yeah.
All
right. We got some time before the season starts. We could always. It's not going to be a big deal to get it back on the SEM system. Deb, I don't know, I don't think, I think it would be bad to forget how bad it was. And if
I don't forget how bad it was. I'm the one who cleaned it up. I mean,
Yeah, no,
I
I
don't
know.
mean cleaned up, I cleaned up the poop and the litter and the whatever. That was my group. We did that. And so
Yeah.
I remember very vividly. But and that it was a problem, but I just think that, this is like, it seems heavy-handed to me to take people who want to do the right thing and get a permit and not let them get a permit, when it doesn't seem entirely convincing to me that the permits are the reasons that folks stopped, because those parties were wild, right? They were people who were just driving up in cars, and they were like, they were setting up first thing in the morning, and they were putting up tents, and they were putting up things to hide so they could go behind to go to the bathroom, and there were big fights, and there were a lot of ground fires. But all of that does not seem like the kind of behavior that they would drive up and say, oh, nobody's here in this park, it must not be a park that allows parties. I just don't, that's the thing that doesn't make sense to me, but I don't wanna drag this down. I know we've got a lot of other things, but, Julie, your hand is up. Julie, did you want to say something?
Yes, I'll just be brief, and I thank you, Deb, for championing for the residents in the area. Having lived there 40 years ago, there was a time when people did use that Washington's Park to have little parties in the area. It's a heavily populated residential area. They don't have terraces, they don't have backyards, so there was a time where it was controlled, and I do know that it did get out of hand, and now it does look like it's getting back okay. So I welcome your efforts, Deb. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want that to go unstated, Joe, that you guys worked really hard, and PEP worked really hard, and the police worked very hard to get that park under control. And that meant giving citations and breaking things up, and that's, we really appreciate that. We worked really closely with all of the city agencies on that project. And it's been successful, but it's also important to balance that out, that's all. So we should just discuss this again in winter, about what we can do to open it up so that people can have, Fort Independence has lots of, a regular slew every weekend of children's parties. It doesn't seem fair to me that you can have a party in Fort Independence, but you can't go down and have a party in Fort Ford or Washington's Walk. Particularly if once we have a new playground, which also was a place where there would be a lot of parties, pre-COVID. So. All right, so thank you.
You got it.
And then I guess the last thing is just the sand in Paul's playground.
I put a request into my deputy chief to order a pallet of sand. So I'll give you the update on when it's ordered. It's so rough. So the kids take the sand out. I got my people blowing that playground all the time. If you drive past it, it looks like a beach. The playground looks like a beach half the time because they're just taking the sand out. So, but I did order it. Well, I requested that it be ordered.
Okay, great.
And then real quick,
it.
and then one more thing, just in case you're asked, the Bruckner box at Henry Hudson.
Oh yeah.
Our sewer truck just came back into service. I think it has a few jobs it has to do, and then it's going to be used to repair our end of the line so that we could get DEP to take care of their end of the job. But it's scheduled.
Okay.
Can I interrupt, Joe? Don't forget to call DEP, she said, to arrange for that, because it's not a given, she said.
Yeah, once our end is done, we'll reach out to DEP. But we don't want to call, we want to make sure our side of the street's clean, and then we'll give them a ring.
We'll push them on our end too, so thank you.
Laura.
Hi, did you say the sand was for Paul's Park?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Paul's
Okay,
Park.
no, because I missed the name of it, and that was the sole person who came to the budget hearing. Okay, thank you. Yes, good.
And then Christina, can you give an update on whether the Van Cortlandt House Museum Community Advisory Committee has added Van Cortlandt Park Alliance to the advisory committee? I know that was something we had asked for, and now that Meredith is gone, I just thought I would check in with you one time just to see. Christina, can you hear me? Or Stephanie?
I can confirm that Van Cortlandt Park Alliance is represented on the advisory group.
Great. Who is the person? Is
It is Christine. It's Christina.
Okay, it's Christina. Okay. All right. And then last question is Stephanie. Cross country, how's it going? How's the cross country season going? As far as traffic goes.
Traffic has not been great, but it has not. I haven't heard as many complaints as last year, but I'm still not happy with the way that it's going. I've taken photos and I've spoken with athletic directors about it. It's just there's just no place for the buses to go, honestly. Like that is the problem. But we did have a very, very successful Manhattan University invitational on October 13th that went really, really smoothly. We had about 10,000 people in the park, and it went very, very well. And then that was a day where traffic was managed really beautifully. NYPD 50th and NYPD traffic, along with PEP, and Manhattan University sent a bunch of volunteers as well to help move things along. So it was really good.
Great. We talked about the last meeting, like maybe doing like a private, private security to move the cars along for some of these smaller meets or during the week. Did you happen to look into that at all? Is that tenable as an option?
It's not tenable for us at the moment financially, but it is something that we're continuing to look at.
Okay. All right. So that's all my questions. Anybody else have any old business?
No, the only old business I had, you already brought up, which was the transformer problem in Van Cortlandt Park. So thank you.
I brought it up last night when we were for the stadium, because there was a lot of consensus that there needed to be more lighting, and so if there's more lighting, can we just treat that whole area holistically? Okay. So I think that ends old business. So now we can go back to dining out, and we'll start off with Salvador's. So you're here to present?
Yes.
You want to give us the overview?
My name is Arian Granage. I'm one of the owners of Salvador's of Soho. We have been in Riverdale for 20 years. We had the same sidewalk that you guys are going to see soon for more than 15 years, and we haven't changed it. And I guess it looks good for the whole block.
What's the context? Why do you have to apply at all? Like that, I know that seating's been there a long time.
I have no idea.
It's the Dining Out NYC new rule.
That's the new
So
program.
everyone has to apply now.
Yeah, they changed the law.
Since the summer, and they apply every 4 years, I believe.
It was every 2 years. I think they changed it.
I think it's.
But it's much easier this time.
Yeah.
Before we had to go through Consumers Affair, we had to go the whole way down Manhattan, a lot of blueprints. We use the same drawings, same architecture, same everything we had that was approved before. Same thing also for Yoburger, but it's not here yet.
Okay, that was going to be my other question, was just did you change anything to fit with this program?
We didn't change anything, it's the same.
One question that I was asked was, some folks see like tables and things stored along the wall. or planters, like kind of beyond the seating area. Is that just, is there any, like, where do you keep the tables and the chairs when they're not being used, like at night, or, you know, or if it's raining, or, you know, when you start to pull
I
it
do
in?
leave them outside on the wall. In the winter, this one is gonna be removed probably in 2 or 3 weeks. We remove them
So
completely.
it's seasonal.
Yes.
So when roughly do you have them out? May to November?
I think from May to
Is the, do the
Probably
rules?
November, yeah, I think it's November, right? You have to
November,
remove
yeah.
it by?
I didn't mean as a gotcha question, I was like, does the city legislature mandate when you have to take it in?
They don't have them actually, as a rule. They don't, I mean, as long as the weather is good, there's no rules for it to be like this
It's not like
particular
the
time.
side, the ones that are in the
Weather.
curb? Okay.
As long as it's not permanent, attached.
Right,
Okay.
But you could keep it all season.
and that's the difference too, everything has to be
Removable, that's all. But everything depends on the weather, based on what I know, so I don't.
Right, but so basically it's optional, you can pull it in or out, depending on whether anybody wants to sit out there.
Yes.
Anybody, you have questions?
Just so you know, in terms of what Department of Transportation wants to know for our comments, they want to know if there's any comments related to the physical footprint dimensions, like if it's too big for the sidewalk, things like that, does it interfere with pedestrian flow? That's the second point, does it interfere at all with pedestrian flow, causing crowding, visibility, causing visibility safety issues. And the third, they ask about, you know, looking at the pictures, existing curb use, do the planters, bike racks, does it interfere with bus stops, bike racks, things like that?
So it looks like you're gonna add a removable fence, it says new removable fence, is that just a kind of alongside
All those
the
fences
table?
are removable, yeah.
Right, but is that new? Is that,
No,
no,
we
we've already got
haven't.
the sign, right? Yeah.
We haven't changed it. The only thing, I think we just have those plants. Looks good now, I guess, better than before.
For the winter.
A little bit, yes.
Sarah, do you want I need a resolution yet.
Yeah, I mean, we can create a one based on the.
I did.
Oh, fabulous.
But I wanted to make sure I wasn't like.
Okay.
All right, so what I got so far is, whereas Salvador's of Soho at 3738 Riverdale Avenue has submitted an outdoor dining application, which has been vetted by the New York City Department of Transportation and meets their requirements. Whereas, I need to get your name, a representative of Salvador's of Soho, the owner of this restaurant, appeared before the Parks and Recreation Committee on October 30th to provide details of their request, which would allow them to continue to have, this is not, so, I have 3 sets of tables, but this is not that. To continue to have, yeah, that's the other one. Basically, to continue to maintain their current table configuration. And in front of their restaurant. And then whereas the committee has no concerns regarding the cafe's physical footprint, dimensions, pedestrian flow, or existing curb use?
Or conflicts with existing curb use.
Or conflicts regarding
Potential
existing curb?
Yeah, potential conflicts with existing curb use.
Yep. Therefore, be it resolved, the Parks and Recreation Committee supports this application for outdoor dining. That's it.
Sounds great.
All right. So, do I have,
Recommend approval.
what?
The recommend approval maybe?
Oh. Therefore, the Parks recommends approval.
I mean, that's okay. I mean,
That's the wording that's.
that is the
okay.
wording on the application.
Well, what you need to know is it still has to go before the full community board, which meets, November 12th. Right, so the committee says, the committee has approved it, but then the board has to approve it. Yeah,
You don't have to hear.
right.
You don't bring both at the same time.
I asked Department of Transportation because he also owns Yo Burger. They also applied at the same time. And I was trying to give you a third one, I'm sorry.
Right.
But they did not have it ready for us, so unfortunately we couldn't review it today.
So I'd like to call a vote for this resolution. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? All right, so passed unanimously. All right. Rubber stamp.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming.
On Yo Burger, I remember when we applied with the architect, we have chairs, but I have benches. I remember the architect when he said, and them to do it as a tables. If you want more chairs to add, you could do it, but if you want benches, then that's fine after it. So I kept the same blueprint if the Yo Burger comes. Right, everything is the same, not even changed.
Right.
You'll see.
If you want, you can have it appear virtually online next time when that comes up. if you
I'm not
want.
too good on those, but I'll show up myself.
Okay.
I'm a very low tech.
So is your last name Salvatore?
It's Kuranaj. It's right here. I have it here.
I have
Yeah.
You got the-
Marion Kuranaj. It's, the name is there. I filled it up. A-N, yes.
Like Mario Kart.
Ah, there you go.
Mario, same.
Did you ever used to be in Soho?
No, the way we got Salvatore's was, the guy had it for like 4 months. He used to work for, Lombardi's Pizzeria as a manager for a long time. And then he came to Salvatore's, was existing restaurant at the time, like pizzeria. He opened and he put his name, Salvatore's, but he worked in Soho. Lombardi's Pizzeria is the first pizzeria in New York City, 100-something years, if you know the history of it. So he brought all those recipes, the sauce and everything from there. And then it wasn't working well for him, lucky, and then we took over. And then I made it little charming old look, to look like a old-fashioned, like been there for 100 years.
Right.
You see Salvatore's those little, and it's the same way, so. But that's why he put his name, Salvatore's of Soho, and we never changed it.
Yeah, I was wondering, whenever I got mine, I always wondered, like, did this come up somehow? And then,
Yeah.
Soho can go looking for Salvatore's.
Yeah, it's like, a lot of people ask of it. He did open 2 of them in Long Island with the same name. One of them was the best pizzeria in New York City of the year once. But, but he didn't last long. He kept them for 6 months and then he kept closing them down. He wasn't good when it came to financing, so.
Right.
He had to be very hard worker, so you can't. Have you seen, one of us always is there.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
It's been on my short list for a long time.
What's that?
Well, thank you so much. Good to meet you. See you over some pasta someday.
see you there.
Are you Albanian?
Yes.
Okay. So I know the red sauce will be good. Like, I love it, yes.
All right, so next up is Estrelita.
All right, thank you guys.
What would you like to tell us about your restaurant?
Yeah, I'm Francisco Ibanez, the owner from Estrellita Poblana. December, I don't know, be 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah. My place is small, that's why I just put some tables outside.
The tables and chairs have been there for a while, right?
Yeah, right now I already take it down for the weather.
Right, for the weather.
Yeah.
And you said you're Jose Jimenez? Okay. And it's just the 3, right?
Four.
Yeah, if you look in the picture.
Oh, there's, okay, right.
We go there for lunch a lot, so we know that they're not there right now.
Oh.
I do tacos.
And I guess I don't find them that they interfere, or just like in terms of visibility, safety, crowding. It seems that there's plenty of space around them, existing curb use, planters, no bike racks or anything nearby. And it actually seems to nicely fill in that corner and kind of create more of a community space, which I think is really lovely. I'm happy that you come out onto the sidewalk a little bit. Yeah.
And believe there is a bus stop right there too, so where the train entrance is, right a little further up.
It's a little bit down.
Is it a little
Yeah.
bit down?
Mhm.
Yeah. So it won't-
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, if the entrance to the subway is just like a little bit up from this, I think,
Yeah.
right? Any questions?
Will you be putting any railings, like, you know, with Salvatore, he had like a fencing? Just to like separate, I guess, the customer from, you know, the street type of situation? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe one or two, like a L shape,
Yeah.
like that,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's a lot of folks in the city do that also so that you can put your bag down or whatever. and
Exactly, yeah.
people walking
It's very
along.
cute though, it's cute. But, you know, like how let me show you what he has.
Yeah, this summer I'm gonna do that, yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, even with the name of
Yeah.
it, that's really, yeah, it's just gives a little curb appeal, I guess.
But I've also seen a lot of places that look just like that, with
Right.
just, you know, a couple of tables and chairs. It's up to you.
Yeah, it's totally up to you.
Mhm.
Don't think we're here to strong arm you.
No.
Like he has planters here too.
Yes.
Which you could
private.
also
Mhm.
designate around too.
Right.
Yeah, and the little chalk sign is nice as well. Very cute. Bob, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, so then I did basically the same, resolution for this. So whereas Estrelita Poblana Taqueria Express of 5975 Broadway has submitted an outdoor dining application which has been vetted by the New York City Department of Transportation and meets their requirements. Whereas Jose Menez, a representative of Montserrat Inc., is that correct? The owner of this restaurant appeared before the Parks and Recreation Committee on October 30th, 2024, to provide details of their request, to which would allow them to continue to have 3 sets of tables and chairs. That's right in this case, right? 4. Right, 4 sets. In front of the restaurant, whereas the committee has no concerns regarding the cafe's physical footprint or dimension, pedestrian flow, conflicts regarding existing curb use. Therefore, be it resolved, the Parks and Recreation Committee recommends approval for this application for outdoor dining. Sound okay? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to vote on it. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? All right, passes unanimously. And then I'll just send it, I'll clean it up and send it.
Thank you personally for reviewing this.
You're welcome, have a good night.
Like more parks elements, if you don't mind.
Scope is vast. Old business is already done, any new business? So, the next meeting is scheduled for December 12th. I know you said you could come. Yeah, because of Thanksgiving, our regular meeting can't happen, and then also because of Christmas, our regular meeting can't happen. So we thought we would do one more meeting this year on December 12th. Mhm.
Would you be able to come? So then I, make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
Oh, you bet you have a second.
All right. We're moving.
Okay. 2-0, Marty?
3-0.
3-0.